Hello, my name is Mr. Eric Silva. My pronouns are he, him, and my email is esilva@dtechhs.org. Before we get into the class in Algebra 2, I want to talk a little bit about myself. It's my first year here at DTech. I teach Algebra 2 in the Algebra 2 plus trigonometry class, so it's the honors track. We go a little bit further, we go a little more in depth. In fact, we even branch into the pre-calculus course, specifically the trigonometry side. I'm the club advisor for the school's Dungeons and Dragons and TTRPG club, which meets in my classroom, which is room 130, every Wednesday and Friday during flex time. Now, the main thing I want to really get across to my classroom, because my class is like most math classes that you're probably familiar with, is the main difference is I have all of my material digitized, and that also includes my lessons and my lectures and my notes. So if for some reason the student is not in my class because they had a head cold and they just weren't there physically, or they had to go on some kind of trip or vacation, or they had to go to a sporting event, they had to leave my classroom early, for whatever reason, if they were not mentally present during the time of the lesson, I actually upload all of my lessons to YouTube. I have a tiny URL, so it makes it a little bit easier to get to. It's tinyurl.com/DTechESilva. If you don't remember that, that's fine, because on every single worksheet that I hand out to the students, there's a little QR code that directly hyperlinks to my YouTube page. For those that don't know how a QR code works, if you have a smartphone and you open up your camera and just point it at that little box, it'll ask you, your phone will ask you, hey, do you want to go to this link? And it'll take you straight to my YouTube page. Additionally, on every single assignment I give, I also have the URL listed right above the QR code. In addition, it is also on Canvas as well. When you get there, you will go to my YouTube page. It'll look something akin to what you see on the left side of your screen right now, and you will see a bunch of YouTube videos. I'm currently in the process of trying to get all my old YouTube videos from my previous school, which is about 5 years worth of material, which includes Algebra 1, Algebra 2, pre-calculus, and calculus AB. And I'm in the process of trying to get that transferred over, but it's really difficult with Google trying to get all the videos from one different YouTube account transferred to another. So I'm in the process of doing that, but currently if you go on my YouTube page, you will see all the lessons on all the notes with my voice, my notes in my classroom since the beginning of this school year, and this is where I'm going to continue to post all of those things. So if your student needs to study for the work that I assign, or needs to study for a test, or is just confused about a topic at hand, that is a great starting location for them to kind of learn the material. The last thing I want to touch on is, what are the expectations on behalf of the students and the parents? What can you expect in my classroom? Beyond the whole expectations in terms of curriculum on what's provided in the Algebra 2 and the Algebra 2 plus trigonometry course, which you can look up via Canvas, I have high expectations for my students. But with that does come the needed supports. I do provide support mechanisms like my YouTube page and a bunch of others that I will adapt throughout the years. But my main emphasis is that I have a high expectation. I have a high bar for what students should achieve and perform at in order to pass my class. But I'm not going to leave them out in the dust. I'm not going to leave them to figure it out for themselves. I'm going to have multiple supports to get them there. But ultimately, this kind of leads into my second point. Students need to be advocates for their own learning needs. Students need to come to me when they are struggling with content. Students need to come to me when something that they're doing just is not working. They need to come to me when they need to form groups and they just can't find anybody. They need to come to me for resources. They need to be advocates for their own education. They need to realize that I am a nexus point for them to gather these resources, but I am not here to override their agency and their liberty in pursuing their own learning goals. And then lastly, I have an emphasis on earned grades with the option of improvement with effort. So what I mean by that is, I often say to my students, if you're not happy with your grade in my classroom, that it is ultimately by their own actions, and that there are going to be avenues, and there always are avenues in my classroom, to remedy that. If a student wants to pass my class with the highest marks, with a 4 on every single assignment, they can do that. There are avenues to get that accomplished. If they are satisfied with their test scores, there are ways in which that they can improve it throughout the entire semester. So if a student, for whatever reason, is not happy with their performance, I offer both the tools, the mechanisms, the time, and the resources for them to not only improve, but to showcase their improvement and then earn full credit on all assessments. So if your student really is unhappy with their performance in my class, if they are not feeling like they are learning the required material, they feel that they are struggling, if they are falling behind, I am always here to make sure that they receive the help they need while not doing the work for them. If the student is willing to show up and put in the work and the effort and learn, then they will do phenomenal in my classroom. Once again, if you or your student have any questions for me, please reach out to me via my email. I try and respond as promptly as I can, but as you might well guess, teachers have a quite busy and chaotic schedule, so do bear with me. But I look forward to working with you and your students throughout the year, and I hope you have a fantastic day and enjoy the rest of the back to school night.